venture yet.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Okay, we're here.
The core is great. Now I see the T-Rex. Oh, yeah. It's not that bad. A little short, I guess.
League. Fire between the East Coast Giants, the New York Nitro sweeping in straight sets. Next up, a collision of the West Coast. San Diego Smash escaping TNT in a 3.
Crosswind, so you kind of turn back cross body to get to hang or stay up and go that way.
That's doing nobody any good.
Yeah, you can do that. But the wind is doing that
The spotlights of Hollywood shined on Westwood last night and the start of the inaugural AVP League. Fire between the East Coast Giants, the New York Nitro sweeping in straight sets. Next up, a collision of the West Coast. San Diego Smash escaping TNT in a 3-set showdown, while the LA launch, the women taking over, getting their first points of the season in a late night thriller. Week 1 of the AVP League rolls on right now. Getting a little ritzy here in Westwood, Bel Air, just across the street. Welcome to the campus of UCLA for the 2024 AVP League Week number 1. This is just your first shot to see the new teams play out, including the New York Nitro, who left a mark yesterday. They sit atop the standings, 2 team points already secured after a win, especially from those two of Taylor and Taylor, but they're gonna have to face off against the LA Launch, who sit with 1 team point in hand, thanks to the help of Betsy Flint and, of course, Julia Scholes. They were in a late night thriller last night in 3 sets played. Hi everyone, Cameron Irwin alongside Kevin Barnett as we get set for this New York versus LA, a cross-country battle. But Taylor and Taylor last night, they looked superb. Ta.Crabb nearly playing flawless.
He is ruthlessly efficient in the offensive phase of the game, especially. He has such a wide variety of shots he can throw. There's no one with the toolbox that he has. And worse yet, with that side, they don't give you anything to work off of. They're not going to give you emotion. They're going to talk to you. They're just going to change gears in a split second and bomb the ball on you. Now, on the other side for Team TNT, they were just a little bit away. A couple of errors cost them. So if they can increase their efficiency, their consistency, they'll be right in this match.
TNT, they're going to have to bring the dynamite to face off against this very tough team of Ta.Crabb and Taylor Sander. As you see the standings, the New York Nitro 2 team points. In order to secure a team point, you have to have a pairs win. They had both the women's and the men's matchup last night to their name, but it's time to send it now to Mark Sherman for our team intros.
Beautiful. Okay, let's meet the teams. Let's meet the boys. First up for the New York Nitro, wearing the number 1 out of Manoa Valley, Hawaii. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most fun, energetic players to watch. He just does it all, doesn't he? He is the bug. Let me hear it for Ta.Crabb. And his partner out of Corona, California, out of BYU, standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. The man with the whip, he is Taylor Sander. And their opponents, the home team, your LA Launch. First guy coming out of Woodbury, Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. He says he's got T-Rex arms. Look, Tim, they're not that short, okay? They look fine. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Tim Bomgren. Playing way taller, Tim, way taller. And his partner out of Dana Point, California. Everybody has so much fun watching him play, and he will feed off of your energy. Let me hear it for the one, the only Troy Field.
Well, Tim Bomgren, as Mark Sherman calls him, why not? It was funny, I actually saw Tim in that last matchup that we had earlier today. Somebody bounced a ball and he looked at me and said, I can't do that. And I have a feeling that is a complete falsity as you look to the format for the AVP League. This is a best-of-3 competition. That's something you're used to. However, sets only played to just 15 points. You must win by 2. And just one timeout, no technical timeouts allotted for each of these teams. Shadows starting to creep into the UCLA Tennis Center as first serve is underway.
A little light breeze coming in for the first time, too.
Kev, one of the areas we saw showcased from TNT and the LA Launch is a split blocking system. How much do you think they're going to go to it here?
It may depend on the energy of the match. I think I'd really like him to stay this way as much as possible. I don't think Tim up there was as effective as he is in the defensive role. So I'd like to see him stay with Troy at the net.
We've seen the high flying from just about every single athlete. Troy Field, one of the highest flyers as he gets tooled there.
Yeah, against Budinger and Evans, he was routinely taking almost an indoor approach and flying towards the net quite a bit, broad jumping. And you tend on the beach to be jumping more vertical all the time, as he does there on 2. And this was a change. And I talked to him afterwards, and he said, yeah, definitely it's making a difference in the way that you can approach the ball and the angles that you can hit.
That's a strong angle on the option play from Troy Field. Interesting. They go to Crabb.
Ta.Crabb will just eat you up in so many different ways. He's got the heat. You saw that on the first swing. Everyone knows he has it, but he very sparingly uses that. He prefers vision and placement.
Option Ta.Crabb sliding in the backcourt. Little trouble there with the set. You could see just from the approach.
Well, I think Troy just should have grabbed it, held it, and then thrown it over. I think that would
Trademark.
be illegal, yeah. Yeah, a little R next to the play.
Little Tia. Maybe it's called a TF.
TF?
The Troy Field.
The Troy Field, okay.
Wow. I got to spell it out for you, don't I?
My bad.
The off pace to Crabb. Ta.Crabb, Taylor Sander got together in 2022, and since then have done some significant work, having won several titles. And that is just a wickedly fast arm from Taylor Sander.
Not only fast, but look where he's hitting his ball. This ball is 4 or 5 feet off the net. A lot of other players would shoot from there. Wouldn't even think of trying to hit an angle. But for Sander, that's easy picking.
I mean, he hit that in front of Ta.Crabb. He just got him looking.
Well, Tim Bomgren's a bit understated in his capability. He's got some good vision, the ability to not only do that, but he can light it up. He certainly can find the hot pocket.
Duo that's reunited after playing together back in 2019.
Talking middle.
Probably one of our most iconic duos from a fan favorite standpoint.
Yeah, still young in his career as Field. He did not start playing for a very long time. Took some of his physical gifts that he already has and is looking to apply them. If you can jump like that, then you can go ahead and just apply yourself to volleyball.
Well, and he kind of did a little bit of a carousel through the partnerships as well. Do you feel like that was a nice area of development for him?
Yeah, I think it is. I think partnerships switches are tough, but in Troy's case, with the lack of experience that he had in the game, I don't think that was really instability. I think that was an opportunity to learn. You know, he really got excited about beach volleyball after the 2012 Olympics, watched a lot of video of the old people, came out with the pink hat, and there was a lot of controversy about that, but really dedicated himself to the process of learning the game. And yeah, I think getting the opportunity to play with a Phil Dalhouser, play with some of the other partners that he's had throughout the years is an opportunity to learn from those players, not only on the court, but off the court. How do you train? How do you manage yourself? What do you eat? Those types of things.
Yeah, you can see the growth in his game. He's also been a full-time blocker, a full-time defender throughout periods of his career.
Right.
And now with Tim Bomgren, as they circle back together, it seems like he can showcase both of those skill sets.
And we haven't even mentioned his extensive snow experience with McKibbins.
Yep, there is something called snow volleyball.
No, there was. No one's seen it. They saw it for like 2 years. It's gone.
I've actually played it. Last year in Austria, they were like, let's try it out. It was slippery.
Sketchy. Yeah, super dangerous.
7-6 for the LA launch. See the approach to the right. Triple ace, Troy Field.
I'm amazed at the number of cable aces we've had last night and today. It seems a much higher percentage than before.
4-1 run now for the LA launch.
La Launch.
The La Launch.
If you're feeling French.
Having to just sprint to that set.
But there's the gear change, right? A Porsche PDK. Just touch the paddle, and all of a sudden, bang, you're into the next gear. There's no delay at all. Ta.Crabb cruising along, sees the sets out of place, a little bit of a slide, and then just cranks it.
I mean, when have you ever seen an approach like that? He just sprinted to the ball and went off 1 foot.
Now he's making it up as he's going along.
One of the most creative attackers you'll see in the game.
Well, that's just hours and skills. All that is hours and skills. So you've played an amazing amount of hours of volleyball, and you have all these different movements that you've attempted, experimented with, watched other players do against you. You have all this knowledge because he plays every form of volleyball, and then he's able to take all of those little micro moments and apply them in a different order.
Trying to apply the block in front of Troy Field. The defense displayed from Tim Bomgren in the backcourt. And to your point, this is a duo that's won 4 AVP titles together, and Sander and Crabb. Climbing now, Bomgren and Field. All right, time to send it to the third member of our crew, Rich Lamborn. What's going on?
Here with Casey Patterson, coach for the weekend at the very least of Troy Field and Timmy Bomgren. After yesterday's match, do you have some kind of game plan coming in against these guys? They're 2-0. They're kind of a little bit of a juggernaut.
Yeah, you know Taylor Sanders is going to get some aces. I told the boys, hey, expect him to have some good serves, and then let's try to beat Ta.Crabb. Let's make him have to do all his circus tricks and be the superhero type player he is, and if he's not and he has an off day, we just have that hard work mentality and kind of just grovel for balls. Hopefully every 3 interchanges we kind of change the timing and try something new. So that, you know, the game plan was, and then I gave him a bunch of secrets on what I used to do against Taylor, but hopefully they execute some of those. But yeah, you just got to expect these guys to play lights out, and you just got to stay with them.
See if you can find a little nugget of kryptonite in there somewhere.
Yeah, just something, maybe a shoe, but that didn't work. You know, that doesn't work either. So we're trying to find something.
I like it. Thanks a lot, Case. Appreciate it.
A little kryptonite. What are they going to be able to find in the black book of Casey Patterson's secrets against Ta.Crabb? How much do you think that could auction off for?
Casey's black book of volleyball secrets?
Yep.
I say just put it on Amazon. Replicate that thing. Publish it. He would rather publish a pickleball secrets, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? 11-9. Again, Casey Patterson, the Olympian, working as the coach for Tim and Troy.
And we're coming down to it already here. Remember, these sets to 15. The launch looking to close it out.
That's going to help. We saw a really nice performance against Chase and Miles from Sean and Cody as they got some points on the board.
Yeah, and finally got some energy on their side, right? I like the way that Sean got going in that one. Cody just absolutely unstoppable offensively and from the service line.
And on paper, that's a bit of an upset when you look at those two teams. Cody and Sean versus Miles and Chase. Miles and Chase coming off their Olympic debut.
Yeah, and I think Cody and Sean, it's been a long time coming for them. They've been rising, and we kept expecting them to have a performance like that, so finally they do. Hopefully that increases their confidence as they head into their next weekend of play.
Huge stuff.
So down the stretch of sets yesterday, we saw the launch get a little bit tight. Bomgren and Field, a couple of errors. Then that's what cost them, was the end of set errors. Will that apply here?
Tight set. Nothing you can do if you're Tim Bomgren.
Well, you should hit the ball in.
We're back to our same conversation.
Yeah, you have to better
Is it
the
on
ball.
the setter or is it on the attacker? And I love it. We're each defending the opposite
Exactly.
position that we played.
That ball's a little tight, but Tim Bomgren can do more with it than that, I believe. I think sometimes you're just trying to do a little bit too much, be a little bit too perfect, and try and steer the ball somewhere, and now the timeout called by the launch.
Tim and Troy getting into the league based off of their finishes and Heritage Series events. On the opposite side, clinched the Huntington Beach Open for Ta.Crabb and Taylor Sander. And let's take a look at what Ta.Crabb had to say about his partner.
He has a cheat code. Did you know it? He doesn't have the muscle to slow his arm down. So that's why his arm just goes. And he can't slow it down. I promise. If you look in the back, he has like that indent, or he's missing that part of the rotator cuff or something. I don't know what specific muscle it is, but he can hit the ball.
I still question whether that's accurate or not, but either way, I mean, how do you dispute it?
I don't think Ta.Crabb is a medical doctor. Is that where I start with my dispute?
A look to the rest of the team for the New York Nitro as they are stacked. They've got Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes just coming off their Olympic chase in Paris. Kelly Chang, the two-time Olympian. She played alongside Sarah Sponsel in Tokyo. Quick touch.
Too tight again.
There's a lot of tight sets. Troy Field, I think the UCLA volleyball team is somewhere in the crowd, and he's trying to get them on the side of LA. Should be an easy battle to win.
Well, the battle they're hoping to win is at the net. A couple of tight sets from Field. Bomgren finally dealing with it there. I need them to settle down just a little bit. Don't steer the ball. Play fluid here. Play confident. At the end of this set, they still have the ad.
Pulling the platform down, Crabb. Even ball game. Bomgren, high look.
Oh, double axe handle set. Did you have that one, Cam? I don't have that one.
Throw that on the bingo card. The New York Nitro regain the lead.
And these are the kind of touches, these are the kind of volleyball plays that are as a result of him playing four-man, mixed doubles, sixes, anything on the sand.
Set point. Oh, that hurts. Feels like service errors are that much tougher in these condensed sets.
Yeah, any error is condensed in these sets.
Must win by 2. Ta.Crabb, simple, but destroyed by the block of Field. LA launch back on top.
I think that set's pretty good. Just a bigger move from Field.
It's the first Crabb error we've seen
in league play.
They go right back to him. That was the equation Casey Patterson gave. Keeps it on his side. No option allowed. And hanging it up there, Tim Bomgren takes set number 1 alongside Troy Field for the LA launch.
They had that one little stretch where they made 2 errors in a row, got blocked once, hit the ball out. Other than that, pretty clean play from the launch, and when they play clean, the results come out on their side. Playing even up here with the Taylors, against whom they practice quite frequently.
Closing out on a 7-2 run, Troy Field, Tim Bomgren. They just struck first against a team that we said was flawless. Crabb only 1 error now in 3 sets played. Coming at an important juncture as well. So the LA launch on top, heading into set number 2. The AVP League is brought to you by Wilson, the official ball of the AVP.
How about a little magic, huh?
Question, what is the solution for Crabb and Sander dropping set number 1? I mean, Kevin, could it be shoes for Taylor Crabb?
Yes, 100%. Break them back out.
We saw wildness in Chicago as Taylor Crabb had to wear some shoes on the sand, and happy to see him back in action. Without him, as you look to who's coming up next, it's Sarah and Kelly for the New York Nitro. On the opposite side, Betsy Flint, Julia Scholes, who were in a 3-set thriller last night. After dropping the first set, rebounded to pick up the second and third. They faced several match points, find themselves back on top, and a point for the LA launch, who sit at 1 total team point in the standings, as they look to gain a few more here against the New York Nitro. Taking a look at some of the numbers, Kevin, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it was keep away from Taylor. Sander just 4 attempts. On the other side for Crabb, 12 attempts. So definitely the plan to work on Crabb. And then Tim Bomgren with the lion's share of attempts on that side for the LA launch. 7 of 14, not Tim's best performance offensively. So if he picks that up a little bit, I think they win by 3 or 4 points in regular time, not having to go overtime.
They stay on Taylor Crabb, who gets swatted back. Sending it down to Rich Lamborn, courtside.
So I'm here with Coach Evie Matthews here of the New York Nitro. Evie, your team's so even-keeled all the time. Is sometimes that a little bit of a detriment? Do you ever talk to them about we need to generate a little more fire, anything like that?
It is. Sometimes we come out because we got those games to 21. We can take our time, get a feel for it. But I talked about this in the last 2 weeks in practice, doing mini games to really get the intensity up. Like, hey, we got to be ready to go now, not feeling it out after the tech. So it's something we're focused on.
A mini game like to 5, you think in increments like that?
18, 17, going to 21, stuff like that, or starting at 10 all, or 13, 12, going to 15.
Okay, so you have little games inside the game to try and motivate your guys.
Exactly. So you have to be strategic and you have to score points now. Each side switch, we need to score a point.
All right, we'll let you get back to it, Evie. Thank you very much.
A game inside of a game. It's Inception here in Westwood today.
I like that. Different training techniques, though, coming into these short formats.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out how to play it. What the rhythm of it is, what the best skills are, how they play, how they can most effectively apply their game plan.
Yep. Caught up with Evie before this too. He's talking about paying attention, staying disciplined on the game plan. Tim Bomgren leaves the hands up. He called himself T-Rex. Clearly he's got enough, he can find a block.
Well, even short arm blockers find a ball once in a while. I'll go back through the old Washington State stats cam.
Oh, Hey, come on now, my Cougs just won the Apple Cup.
A real rivalry Saturday.
Just won't talk about my Rams right now.
No. They who shall not be named at the moment.
3-2 first side switch. But it also is interesting, and speaking with Evie, as much as you have a coach in the box, it truly still comes down to decision making by the athletes in this sport. You really can make big time adjustments even on your own. Chest dig from Crabb.
And you have to. One timeout, you absolutely have to, and you have to make it mid-play too. You really don't get an opportunity to sit and talk about it. You get the side switches. There was a question earlier about how slowly you can walk on the side switches. You're gonna have to just solve it, and in beach volleyball you get targeted over and over and over again. But so much mental pressure on it. It becomes more similar to tennis in that regard.
They switch and go to Sander. You might want to stay away from him.
Yeah, I'd stick with Crabb.
Sander, the two-time Olympian, 2016-2020. Bronze medalist from Rio, playing on the indoor side of the game. Bringing his skills back to the beach.
The Taylors look a little bit off right now. They're the ones making some of the uncharacteristic errors, like that service error there, which wasn't even close.
Well, and you heard it from Casey Patterson. He said you kind of have to hope for an off day for Ta.Crabb.
Well, so far you might be getting it. And I like the way that Troy is playing with timing, not just on that play where he's laying in wait, right? But a few times he's come up early, other times he's come up late. He's made a big move, he's made smaller moves, he's made the pre-adjustment with his feet, or he's made the adjustment with his hands in the air. He's really doing a good job varying those skills. And it results in another error. Crazy.
Say, this is wild. These two teams just met this season already twice, actually, back in Huntington Beach, and they were identical scorers, both two-set victories to Crabb and Sander, 21-18, 21-16. They faced off in the winners final as well as the semifinal round, or excuse me, in the second round of the winners bracket as well as the semifinals. 7-3 lead now for TNT, up by a set. Want some solutions? How about the option play? Sarah and Kelly trying to urge their team on. There's a little energy from that guy.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. Maybe a little more on two. He's not going to get served that much, but they're going to start by serving the ball in.
Well, that's another way to score a point.
That is the other thing he can do.
Bringing this within two.
Talked about the big moves that Field was making. Watch this big move. Huge pogo to the left. A little show and take from Sander.
Bomgren had been working the line. He tries the angle now, and that ball is sent back.
It's not only the fact that Ta.Crabb gets there. It's where he then puts the ball. He scoops that thing right up on top to a guy who could hit it in a giant radius. When you talk about setting players, talk about the size of their window of opportunity to be effective. In those bang-bang plays where the ball pops back up on top of the net, outside of Phil Dahlhauser, I don't think there's a player with a bigger window than Taylor Sander.
Well, and even in these conditions, you think of the jumpy sand, that window also increases, does it not?
Excellent point. Absolutely it does.
While they're in the box, let's take a look at some of the highlights for the New York Nitro from last night's matchup. It was against Sean Cook and Cody Caldwell. What impressed you in this two-set victory?
What impressed me was their demeanor and the score. If you looked at the Taylors and you didn't know what the score was, you didn't know anything about volleyball, you would say, well, that team is losing. They're not even doing anything. And then they quick turn from Jekyll to Hyde and bang a couple of balls down, and that's it. You look up at the scoreboard, even while they're just kind of cruising, it's tied or they're up 2. It was wild to me how easy they made it look.
This pair clinched a spot into the league, winning Huntington Beach, the first Heritage Series event.
Come with me.
Tim and Troy had to fight their way in on the point side, trying to make it in based off the top 8 finishes. But now we've seen the second timeout called. LA was on a 3-0 run. And the next thing you know, it's the opposite side after the timeout, a 3-0 run to New York. Now just a 1-point ball game.
Yeah, pretty disappointing Manhattan for this pair. They finished 13th, and we were wondering if they were even going to get into the league. Well, third place in Chicago made that happen. But they had to work at it.
Working at the dig is Crabb. What do they do with the free ball? 1, 2, 3. A little collision under the net.
Yeah, I think after the play was over, so no interference call there. Troy's having a little trouble with that right knee. He's not really all that happy with his body currently.
Well, these two were having a little football fun of their own, warming up for this. Tossing around the football to get warmed up on the adjacent court.
Right, it didn't look too bad there.
Who's got the better arm, Tim or Troy?
Ooh.
Better spiral, more importantly.
Ah, that's a good question.
Set inside, brought back to the corner. Bomgren comes away with the error.
You have to have that right there. Think about the side switch there. It'd be 9-6 instead of 8-7. Feels so good to have a 3-point lead with just that many points to go in this set to 15. Can't miss that one, especially not by that much, right? You have to have something closer, something you were trying to do.
The option play continues. I like that, alleviating some of the pressure. Bomgren just had the error on the attack. He goes, here, partner, you do it. Set way outside. With that blocking error, and let's go down to Rich Lamborn.
Hey guys, thanks. It's nice to see the New York Nitro kind of gain a little bit more focus, right? Sometimes that's a little bit of a hiccup for them. Talk to Evie Matthews about it a little bit, right? He was talking about those mini games, but they really need to stay on task start to finish when things aren't going their way, especially the LA launch coming at them solid.
Rich, I have to ask, you've worked with Ta.Crabb, you were his coach from a defensive standpoint. Where do you see him trying to climb this second set and really have some impact?
Well, I think he's really showing a wide array of his capabilities out there. He always needs to stay aggressive, right? He has so many options offensively that sometimes I think you kind of spin the wheel of options and can get held up when things aren't always rolling perfectly, you know what I mean? So that he's better the more aggressive he is, and it opens up some of that softer stuff like you saw there.
Awesome, thanks, Rich.
Yep.
Yeah, first time he's gone to that really soft, short roll. That's pretty much a signature Ta.Crabb move.
Well, they better start making some moves right now. Down the first set, 14-16, and now down by 2. Another service error on their side.
Yeah, service has been a dull spot in this one.
A bit shockingly, too. We're talking about one of the best servers in the game, and Taylor Sander. He's the 2-time best server on the AVP in 22 and 23. Looking for the wrist away, finds the touch off the block. I feel like we're seeing a lot of tight sets across the board.
From both sides, yeah, and it's caused problems, right? The errors from Tim Bomgren, some stuff blocks that have occurred. Both sides need to pull it a little bit off the net, and maybe not quite that far. That's too far on the ace.
Into the VIP section, somebody else just threw out their platform. French fries on the board. First tie in this set. Taking the extra time here. Bomgren throws up a beautiful set. Sorry, I got too excited about this set. That one hit itself.
Now you're back in your groove.
I know.
Well, and he's been hitting a lot of angle, right? Troy Field with that approach has hit a ton of angle. Last night, that would have been in the scouting report coming into today, how much angle he was hitting. He finally cracked one down the line.
Little crossbody action.
I would give that same approach in the next opportunity and do the same thing. I'd go right back to that well.
KG from Crabb. He's finding a lot of short angles now.
Yeah, and that's the gear change, right? He popped a few early with some high heat, and now he's just rolling short, or he's knifing it off the side. He's dropping it off his hand as he does there. That's where he's supremely annoying to play against.
Bomgren falls to a knee, and another hitting error, somewhat uncharacteristic from him. One of the most consistent that you'll see.
Yeah, he's just kind of off right now, and that means you should get the ball again.
Another lead change. Here we go for the New York Nitro. Another 4-1 run. Nitro looking for set 3.
Now too tight a pass. Yeah, just too tight a pass. And Troy Field did his best, but it kind of rolled out the bottom of his thumbs there on the way out and just acquired an incorrect look for sure. Watch his thumbs.
This used to be the old tactic against Tim and Troy. Make Troy Field set. Somehow that ball stays after the cable. Back to the angle for Bomgren.
Well, what people may not know about Troy is that he's very similar to Taylor in that he plays all kinds of different formats. Also, he spends so much time on the court. Of course, coming late to the game, he's got some catching up to do, but he just loves the game, loves to compete.
Set point remains. Waiting, delaying the block. Pokey back set and poked back.
Huge, absolutely huge for Troy Field to get those 2 touches. He felt like he had it on the first one, but never gave up. We saw it from Troy last night too, the speed and never giving up on plays, pulling digs where guys have wide open nets and he's digging it. Oh, that's a killer though. That's a tough follow.
Oh, we have seen that so many times.
But now you know who's getting served. Tim Bomgren's about to get this ball. Does he try and scoop it for the on-2?
Third opportunity for a third set. To the left side, the high line works. Who is going to come away with some defense? We need a real point here. Tim Bomgren, he's got the head bob already going.
And he's feeling the flow with DJ Richey right there. Next thing you know, he'll be doing the bull dance. Working it, working it.
Extending into this second set. The serves again.
Yeah, the service there is just killing the LA launch.
New York Nitro. In the same position now. Bomgren stays on the right side. That's too easy for Crabb. Flag goes in bounds, and Bomgren is immediately saying, check that ball mark.
That's what the C is. It's check. Not challenge, it's check.
Which way will this go? The line official called this inbounds.
I think everyone's conceded that the ball was inbounds and that this set is over.
Set is over, but the match is not. We are going to set number 3. Kelly and Sarah are gonna have to wait a bit longer to get back out on the sand.
Oh, we'll get a good look at it here.
Ooh.
That ball's out.
You think so? I think there's just a little splashback.
No, I think that ball is out.
Well, I'm not saying it was in. I just think.
Watch, right? Oh, look at our crew.
Oh.
Look at our crew.
Oh.
Oh, that thing's out. That kick, nothing moved. That's out. That's out, but it doesn't matter. It's over on an 8-4 run.
Casey Patterson getting in the ear of Troy Field. These two guys played alongside one another at one point. But how about the steadiness of these two? You saw a couple errors from Ta.Crabb on the opposite side too. They threw a lot of defensive looks and different defensive looks to the attack of Tim Bomgren.
They did, and they stayed working on Tim, and then they also started varying up their own shots, right? Ta.Crabb switched gears. We talked about that. The gear switch was he was swinging at a bunch of balls, and then he started rolling, shooting, pushing, doing all those other things that he's capable of doing. On the other side, it's just too many errors by Tim Bomgren in this. Too many errors overall as a pair, but Tim Bomgren, the target right now, and the focus certainly coming out into this third set will be to serve Tim and make him beat you.
Well, Tim Bomgren step up to the challenge. Let's take a look at what's coming up on our schedule. Just the first week of action here in Los Angeles before heading to the East Coast. And of course, beautiful Miami, Florida. Palm Beach will also get some action on the East Coast. And then twice we will be in the great state of Texas, in Austin and in Dallas. And we're bringing home the championship right back here to the home of beach volleyball in Los Angeles, California, come November 9th and 10th. Just the top 4 teams making it through. Potential for a 16-point total. The only one that has the potential to find all 16 of those right now is the New York Nitro. Picking up 2 team points yesterday with each of their pairs. Women's and men's pair coming away with a win. LA launched just 1 point to their name, and for these two, you almost feel like you had the win in your pocket. This would have been huge for them to take down Taylor and Taylor, a team they have yet to beat.
Yeah, instead we get 2 overtime sets and now a third set tiebreaker. And if you're Tim Bomgren, you feel like it rests with you, you're going to get an opportunity right away. Clean up a couple of errors, the set is probably yours.
Quick snap from Crabb.
And nice play by Casey Patterson off the bounce. Still got it, ladies and gentlemen.
He never lost it, let's be honest.
I want to hit some JV angles at him and see what he does.
How do you even block the left hand? Think your block's that big?
The interesting thing to me is that Troy is way outside on this approach. And they're leaving the ball inside quite a ways. I don't know why you go to the left hand there. You feel like you couldn't reach all the way around with your right without netting. And I also find it interesting that they're going at Troy Field.
Well, and I like the approach there from Troy Field. If you have the jump advantage, hit the ball and hit it harder.
Now you're coming around to my way of thinking, Cameron. Now
I've
now
spent
we're
way
getting
too
somewhere.
many years alongside you,
That's
my
right.
friend.
That's right.
The flipper. That's a problem. Bomgren again is dug. What an outstretched reach and a poke down.
Tim Bomgren trying to hang as long as he could and stretch out those tiny T-Rex arms. Yes, just enough. A little cobra on the end there. Gooseneck cobra by the T-Rex. Sentences you didn't think you'd hear.
He might not be able to bounce like the other guys, but he definitely has that shot to his name.
He'll cobra with the best of them.
Hanging that on a platter.
Now, cobra, for those that don't know, is when you put all your fingers together, all straight, and you poke at the ball with the end of your middle finger, or you have your center finger and your ring finger at the same length, then you would get double contact there. You get even more. You just jab at it.
And it hurts.
Strike.
Do you have to have the sound effects when you do it too?
Yes.
Let's go down to Rich Lambourne.
All right, I'm here with Sarah Hughes, teammate of Taylor and Taylor. Sarah, how do you manage cheering for your guys? This is a tight one. This is the third set, but you've also got to prep for your match coming up right after this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because we're here, we want to cheer them on, but like you said, we got to focus what's in our control, and that's playing our match. So we're just sending positive vibes, cheering for them, but we can't control it. So just here to support, and Kelly and I are just warming up and getting ready for our match.
Is there a point on the scoreboard where you're like, all right, it's go time for us, we're not cheerleading anymore, we're getting ready?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, in the third set, it's like, it can go back and forth, but we're out here ready to go. But we're so close, we can at least, you know, look over and cheer them on. But for the most part, we just got to lock down. And anytime there's a timeout, we'll get out on the court and train.
All right, go Nitro, and good luck in your match.
Nice to hear from Sarah Hughes as she's prepping for her matchup. But it speaks to the focus and the quick turnaround time that these athletes really have to have. You have just one matchup a day. However, when you're locked in on so many different things,
it's almost an Olympic format. The Olympics, you actually play every other day, and you play once a day. So it's a far different ask than the normal AVP event, the heritage events, where you don't even know your next opponent. You just kind of have to go on instinct. I think there's something to be said for going on instinct and keeping it all on your side of the net. Another interesting thing to follow will be our teams over-preparing. Our teams trying to get out of what they do best in order to affect what they think the other team, where they think the other team is vulnerable. I think there's a balance there you need to find that often coaches go a little too far. Oh, the other team is vulnerable here, vulnerable there. Well, that's fine, but we don't do that well. We should probably just stick with what we're good at.
What it feels like, considering these conditions, is almost like meathead volleyball, right? Like, get out there, hit the ball hard. Who's going to elevate the most? Who's going to scoop the most digs? Sometimes the game plan kind of has to go out of the picture.
You're right to characterize it as meathead volleyball because there isn't a constituency behind that. I often call it caveman volleyball. That's probably an error on my part, and some of the Geico guys get upset.
Somewhere a lizard screaming.
It took me a second to process that count.
Keeping things close here. Nice little run for the LA launch. So the target has shifted from time to time on the side of the launch.
I would keep it on Tim Bomgren the whole time. There's that tight set again. Getting too close to the net. With each one of these dynamic blockers, that's going to be a mistake.
Tie ball game. Delayed move from field. Tough serve, but well managed. Nobody can play with the timing better than Ta.Crabb.
Yeah, here's a hang, and we talk about a hang and a bang all the time. This is a hang and then a slap into the edge of the block.
Go, Dave. Go, baby.
Taylor Sander going away from the jump topspin. He looks to just float, but right now he's got to just get the ball over.
Yeah, I think he's trying to find a solution here, right? He's missed a lot of serves in this match.
Maybe not as much court as he's traditionally used to behind the service line.
That's a good point. The run-up area is a little smaller.
Because you'd think on sand like this, he could just unload and dictate an entire match from the service line.
You would think, but it does have that little short end line. I know the guy that would struggle the most, that would be Kevin Wong. One-time UCLA star, famous for needing an entire runway at high altitude for a 747 to take off and hit his jump serve.
The one Kevin Wong, whose birthday was this week. Happy birthday, friend.
Yep, of course, deeply involved with starting the new Love Volleyball League that's coming up this winter. All right, Cam, we're going to race to 7. I think it's going to come down to errors. Service errors on the one side. If Taylor Sander can serve the ball in, that's good for his side. On the other side, for Tim Bomgren, got to hit the ball in, particularly on transition scoring opportunities.
And what will the block and defense be able to do for the LA launch? Ta.Crabb has answered the call from the side out in this third set, stepping up with that platform. Sander back to the service line. And another error. He even gave a higher toss. I mean, I've never seen this with Sander from the service line.
Just out of sync. Absolutely out of sync.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you get back to?
You have to have a routine, a service routine you can fall back on, whether it's breath work or particular ball movement. And then you have to have a single cue. For me, it was always, when my serve was off, I would think about piking over the top of the ball, making sure that I extended and piked over the top of the ball. And it doesn't mean that I necessarily made a bigger pike all the time, but that's what my focus was on that contact point to spin it down. So he has to have something that he falls back on as a cue to get himself in rhythm.
And to his credit.
And now it's affecting his partner.
Sixth tie in this third set. And I was just about to say, to his credit, he's not letting it affect the other areas of his game. You saw a couple balls just absolutely bounce from Taylor Sander. You have to be able to segment.
Yeah, by segment, do you mean not let your poor play in one aspect of the game affect the other aspects of your game?
That's it, it's the pirouette from Crabb.
I like to think of that as the Mike Dodd, although Crabb didn't quite do it that time. Mike used to put his platform in the air and his head would almost be inside of his platform, so he wouldn't even be looking, he just would know that that's exactly where the platform would have to be, issue a perfect pass to the hob.
Speaking of legends, St. John Smith in the house. Snapping! A little extra fire from Crabb right now. Someone grab the nos. He's ready to roll. Bomgren needs this. And instead, the big block, a bit intimidating.
So two things happened there, right? Sander served the ball in. That's been a problem. And then on the other side, a Tim Bomgren error. Exactly what we thought might decide this third set. Plays a pivotal role at that juncture to go to 13-10.
Bomgren from the right. A little bit of a hot pocket. It's like a pizza roll.
More Totinos.
Where do they send this to Crabb? They've been looking deep. Another perfect pass and better swing.
I was hoping you were going to ask, where do they send the pizza rolls? Do they send them to us?
To the booth, please.
Sponsorship, yeah, exactly.
Match point for the New York Nitro.
Yeah, and again, the Taylors just turning it on when they need to turn it on, but never looking all that stressed.
Dropped set number one, found the second, 17-15. A little extra force from Crabb from the service line.
I like going for it there. You have enough leeway. You feel like you can side out one of the next 2 points. That's fine. Crank it up and get after it.
They've been working to Crabb. He just needs one side out. Option. Right to the chest. That leaves a mark. And an extra point to the New York Nitro.
Oh, man, put an exclamation point on it. Why don't you?
Hey, remember that one time Tim Bomgren took a trip to LA and came back with a tattoo?
Man, I was just thinking about how rude New Yorkers can be. That's an awful rude way to end a match. Just blast somebody in the chest with it. I love it.
Hats off, though, to the New York Nitro, dropping the first set in extended play, 14-16. They righted the ship, finding 17-15 in the second. They had to fight off some of their own errors.
Yeah, and while I don't like the lack of energy that you can perceive from their side, that's the way they play. No team switches gears better than the Taylors. No team is able to just draw on some good plays as quickly as they are.
They absolutely switch gears. Let's go down to Mark Sherman for the winner's interview.
Taylor and Taylor completing the comeback, and y'all were just thundering balls in set number 3. Where did you find that spark? Because there was something in the third set where both y'all just started whipping.
Yeah, we didn't start off too hot. I didn't play well at all the whole match. I don't think he carried me this whole game, keeping me composed. They did an unbelievable job of messing with my vision on my side out. So props to them, and yeah, we just stayed with ourselves, and he carried me, like I said.
Taylor would say he didn't have the best match. So when a partner's not necessarily playing his best, and you got to step it up, and you absolutely did, what is that shift? If you can sense your partner's not having the best match, how do you pick them up?
Yeah, just create some energy, you know, have fun out there. I think sometimes as professionals, you can struggle out there. You know, I was right there with Tay. He made some big plays for me, and, you know, I just tried to create some energy. And those guys played great, and yeah, we had to grind that one out, but, you know, we got the W, and let's go Nitro.
Nitro now 3-0. Taylor, congratulations, as Sarah and Kelly will now get out there against Betsy and Julia. Give it up for the Crab and Sander, everybody, for the New York Nitro.
Crabb and Sander coming away with the team point for the New York Nitro. Another 3-set battle. The 7 matches played thus far, 4 have gone to the 3rd set. Tim Bomgren, though, he did a lot of work in this one. Let's take a look back at the Wilson Volleyball Play of the Day. A little scoop and cobra from Timmy. Again, the Wilson Volleyball Play of the Day. I know you like that one, Kevin.
Yeah, I like how he just hung on as long as he could and not touch the sand, keep his hand above, and didn't net. Well done.
Another interesting thought, too. You just heard Ta.Crabb talk about how they really screwed with his vision on the side out. Maybe that's Casey Patterson getting in on the mix from a scouting report as you look to the standings now.
Yeah, really nice result here for New York Nitro, going 3-0, looking with Cheng and Hughes coming up next. How would that be? You come out 4-0 in your very first weekend, you'd already be feeling good about your championship chances.
Scoreboard has been updated. Who will get to update it next? Sarah, Kelly versus Betsy and Julia. But another 3-set matchup. The New York Nitro were pushed, but ultimately they answered the call. Ladies taking the court next here at UCLA.